areas of the Song of Ice and Fire books that were arguably the most different in the TV show was how the show handled the Ironborn and Dornish plot lines, with them being effectively night and day different from the books. I've made a few videos now on some of the Ironborn characters who were lost as part of the changes, so I thought I'd spend some time talking about the Dornish plotline and its lost characters, with the focus today on Arys Oakheart. The addition of Arys as a point of view character in A Feast for Crows was not something I expected the first time I read the book. What makes his character so interesting and important to the plot of the book is Arys is in some way the reader, looking at the culture and people of Dorne through a more outside lens, with it being a very different place to what we'd seen so far in the story up until that point. Looking at Dorne through the eyes of Arys gives a similar feeling as the readers reading about Dorne for the first time. Arys Oakheart is a knight from House Oakheart and a member of the kingsguard of King Robert I Baratheon. He is the youngest son of Lady Arwen Oakheart of Old Oak. However, we do not know his exact age, but he is believed to have been born in or around 274 AC. Arys is said to be a handsome man with light brown hair and a comely face. Sansa Stark, during her time as a captive in King's Landing, considers him courteous and cordial. Arys is a fine, bold knight who serves faithfully as a member of the Kingsguard during the reign of King Robert and his son Joffrey. He dresses in a tunic decorated with the golden oak tree of his house, and his Kingsguard armor has white enamel scales. He is also said to own at least 3 different white cloaks, one of light wool, one of heavy wool, and one made of silk, which he pins with the golden leaf brooch of his house. In his youth, it is said that Arys always dreamed of joining the Kingsguard, which he did around the year 290 AC, joining the Kingsguard of King Robert I Baratheon. By the events of Game of Thrones in the year 298 AC, Arys has been a member of the Kingsguard for around 8 years. It is not known if he travelled with the king's retinue to Winterfell to name Eddard Stark the Hand of the King, but we do know that he did take part in the Hands tournament along with the rest of the sworn brothers of the Kingsguard. Later, he is also present in the throne room when his Lord Commander, the famous Barristan Selmy, Barristan the Bold, is dismissed from the Kingsguard. Arys laughs at the shame of Selmy, his former sworn brother, during the events of A Clash of Kings, while all of Joffrey I Baratheon's Kingsguard knights, with the exception of Sandor Clegane, beat Sansa Stark on the king's orders. Sansa still regards Arys as one of the kinder knights of them, and prefers that he accompanies her over any of the others. Arys speaks politely with Sansa, and when ordered by Joffrey to hit her, does so more lightly than his other brothers of the Kingsguard, and once even protested the order before reluctantly doing so. Arys accompanies Sansa to a tourney on King Joffrey's name day and expresses to her his confidence in his ability to win, though he admits the competition is not as fierce as he would have desired. Fond of gossip, he informs Sansa of Lord Tywin Lannister's refusal to march his army to King's Landing, as Queen Regent Cersei Lannister had commanded. Arys is sent to Sunspear in Dorne as the sworn shield of Princess Myrcella Baratheon, who is betrothed to Prince Criston Martell. Arys still regrets having struck Sansa, even at his king's command, as he was sworn to do, and he lights a candle to the warrior in guidance for having been chosen by Tyrion Lannister for this mission to Dorne. During the events of A Storm of Swords, Lord Tywin Lannister, who has now taken up the role of Hand of the King, informs his son Tyrion, the former Hand, that Arys has sent a letter from Dorne revealing Myrcella and Trystane get on well, and that Princess Myrcella has taken a great liking to Princess Arianne Martell, the daughter of Prince Doran, the leader of the Dornish. By the events of A Feast for Crows, Arys is now a main point of view character. He is seduced within half a year of arriving in Dorne by Arianne Martell, the daughter and heiress of Doran Martell, Prince of Dorne. Arys claims not to have touched a woman since joining the Kingsguard in 290 AC, which is reflected in the title of his first chapter, The Soiled Knight. Arianne convinces him to rebel against the Iron Throne and support Myrcella Baratheon's claim over that of her brother, King Tommen I Baratheon. Her plan to crown Myrcella is also secretly part of an attempt to claim her own birthright as heir to Doran. Arys brings Myrcella to Arianne's company of friends, and they travel the Greenblood River, where they are confronted by Prince Doran's guards, as their conspiracy has been uncovered. Arys madly charges into the Martell forces, killing 2 of them in the process despite being injured. When his horse goes down, he manages to struggle free, but Oakheart, Prince Doran's captain of the guard, reaches him and kills him with his long axe when Arys raises his sword too slowly. Later, during her time of captivity, Princess Arianne has nightmares about Arys' death, perhaps even feeling some guilt about her involvement in it. When summoned before her father, Prince Dorne informs her that Sir Balon Swan, Arys' sworn brother of the kingsguard, is travelling to Sunspear and is expecting to see Arys upon his arrival. To hide the truth of Arys' death from Swan, Arianne tells her father they should say that Arys died defending Myrcella. When much of the Dornish storyline was cut or drastically simplified after season 4 of Game of Thrones, there were many Dornish characters lost in the process. Arys was one of them. Much of these changes seem to have come down to the showrunners choosing to cover the whole of A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons in a single season, when up to this point we had at least gotten a book per season, or in the case of A Storm of Swords, 2 seasons. Thus, when it came clear they were going to try and fit 2 books worth of content into a single season, when in reality it needed at least 3 to do it well, fans saw the writing on the wall when it came to the Dornish. However, I have a feeling that even if the show had adapted A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons properly, Arys may still have been cut to limit the number of new characters needing to be introduced. Or perhaps there would have been a situation like with many of the Northern Lords, such as Wyman Manderly and Mage Mormont in the show, where they are effectively reduced to silent extras. But I do like the perspective we gain from Arys and his view of Dorne, and I think he really fits well into the Dornish point of view characters, such as Arianne and Oakheart. I also enjoy the concept of the soiled knight aspect of his character and the guilt he feels regarding his actions. And I do wonder if the showrunners of House of the Dragon looked at Arys when fleshing out the character of Sir Criston Cole.